Hey everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. And today our topic, or for this series, our topic is going to be breaking the chains in your relationship. And so this is piggyback off of kind of the love series, or just the love talk that my husband and I did together. And just giving some ideas and talking about some things that can cause a lot of heartache and problems and issues in relationships. Because most arguments that you have in relationships are not because of that particular thing that you're arguing about. Normally, that argument is a facade of a deeper or more psychological or more spiritual issue. I have learned that everything that we deal with in this flesh is because of a spiritual difficulty that we're having. And we are not trained or taught really in churches or anywhere how to really deal with spiritualness. And, we're not taught to believe that we have a spiritual person around us. And any area that spiritual person is lacking or not getting or having a problem with will manifest in our physical body. So same thing in a relationship. If there's something that you're constantly arguing about or something that you're constantly having a conflict with, one of the two people are dealing with something on a psychological or spiritual level that is manifesting through that argument. So that's just the bottom line on that. So let's talk about one of the things that can cause a lot of difficulty in a relationship, and that is overcoming insecurity. Now, everybody does not like the word insecure. Nobody, if you ask anybody, nobody will say that they are insecure, because insecure sounds like you don't like yourself or you have a problem with yourself. That's what it sounds like. And so no person knowingly is going to confess that they don't like themselves, right? But the bigger issue is realizing that along your life journey, somewhere you have been taught a belief or a thought that you now believe. And that thought or belief is causing you to have a reaction. And that reaction is in the form of insecurity. So that's really what it is. And so most of the time, an insecure person can be really mean. They can be very temperamental. They can be unpredictable because they're insecure in some area or shape, form, or fashion in their life. So what is insecurity and how does it affect you? How can you be honest enough with yourself to determine if you're insecure? So we all have some form of insecurity. I do, you do, and you know somebody that has some form of insecurity. So this is something that we all are fighting and working with together. This is not me saying you're insecure. This is me saying this is what I've gone through. This is what I've experienced and seen in my own relationship, which is why I'm sharing it with you. So insecurity it comes from an emotion. And almost every obstacle you face in your life comes from some form of an emotion. You know what emotion is, like sad, fear, happy. Those are emotions. And our mind subconsciously thrives off of emotions. Our subconscious mind thrives off of that. So there's some kind of emotion that is causing this insecurity in you. So let me give an example. So, example from experience. When you have a spouse that doesn't like you to go anywhere, so afraid someone's going to talk to you. Okay, that is a form of insecurity that they are inflicting on you to make you feel like, okay, it's wrong. You should not want to do that. But really, that is coming from an emotion of fear. Most of the time, fear is the driving emotion of insecurity. It's a fear. And so that fear is coming from then a belief. So you have an emotion, fear, and you believe that emotion is true. And so that emotion now is your belief. So you're afraid if your husband goes somewhere without you, he's going to talk to another person. So that fear makes you feel insecure. You may not even realize it. You're afraid they're going to talk to another person because maybe somewhere before you have learned that when someone goes somewhere and they're not with their significant other, they are susceptible to talking to someone. So you don't want to be cheated on, right? So now you're in fear of saying, I don't want to be cheated on. Because I know I'm like that. I don't want to be cheated on. You're not going to make me look crazy. No, you're not. You're not going to make me look like the stupid, dumb chick sitting at home, husband running around doing what he wants to do, and I'm the stupid, dumb chick sitting at home. Okay, nobody wants that, right? So our fear drives us to put up this wall or this emotion to protect that belief, because we believe we're going to be cheated on. We believe that if you do that, you're going to cheat on me. That's our belief. And so that emotion drives that belief, which causes the insecurity. I hope that makes sense. See how this stuff is deep. It's deep. You got to get to the core. You got to get to the nitty gritty. So in my book, I briefly discussed this concept in my book. And I say every action and emotion we have is centered on a feeling. The feeling is centered on a belief, and that belief is centered on what you value. So whatever you find to believe, you believe to be true, which are your values, things that you believe to be true, those values drive your belief, and that belief drives that emotion. So that's how insecurity can come into play. Beliefs and values can have a direct effect on your ability to express love and to be happy. So if you're putting up this wall that we just talked about, this fear of protecting yourself or believing that you're not enough, which we're going to talk about in just a second, just hold on. That's going to be my next example. It causes you to put this wall up, and now you can't adequately give love or receive love because of this wall that you now have up. So, insecurity can be a huge deal breaker in a marriage because it puts so much stress on the other person that they can't win everything they do, because that insecurity is it's a hungry demon, and the more you feed that insecurity, the hungrier it gets. And so you start not wanting your spouse to do anything because this insecurity is growing. It's feeding off of this energy, which is coming from your mind. And put a pin in that because we're going to come back to that too. But it gets bigger and it gets bigger. And next thing you know, you're trying to control every single thing around you. And hint, hint, no person wants to be controlled like an object. I don't, you don't, your spouse doesn't. Nobody wants to be controlled like an object. But insecurity causes you to try to control everything, every emotion, every movement someone makes, everything. And next thing you know, you're miserable because you're trying to control everything. It's running you crazy. And the person that you're with, they're miserable because they can't do anything. Everything they do makes you unhappy because you're the big, fat, insecure person. Okay? So, insecurity has to be examined. We got to get to the root of the insecurity. So, the first part of getting to the root of the insecurity is realizing that you're insecure. So, Pathways to Happiness is a great source for psychological things. I refer to them a lot when I was writing my book. They have a lot of great information on their website. And so they have one article on here all about how to overcome insecurity and low self-esteem. And anybody who is bold enough or brave enough to admit that that's an issue that they're dealing with, that is a great website to go and reference and read and make notes of how to overcome the insecurity and low self-esteem demon. I'm going to call it a demon. Low self-esteem is a mindset that believes you are not good enough And that's your belief. Remember, we talked about it's based on an emotion, and that emotion is based on a belief. So you believe somewhere that you're not good enough. That's low self-esteem. Low self-esteem can cause you to be insecure. So how do we change this? It's enough of diagnosing and telling what it is and giving examples. But how can we change this? How can we make this better? It all begins with controlling your thoughts and controlling your mind. How do you do that, right? So every belief that you have, so just start thinking about stuff that you believe in. Like, what do you believe? You believe in God. You believe the earth is round. So all these beliefs that you have are at the center of your being, at the center of your core, because you spent years, right, believing these things. So those beliefs that's at the center of your core produces thoughts. Remember, your mind is connected to your center being at the core. You can't see my hand, but my hand is here. This is your mind, the center of your core here, not here. This is your brain. Your brain and your mind are different entities. So those beliefs then produce thoughts. You again can't see my hand. Here, thoughts. And those thoughts produce actions. So people's thoughts can be dangerous, right? What in the world is on that person's mind? What's that person thinking? You know, God did not give us the ability to read minds per se. So they can be dangerous. But if you want to get control of your insecurity and this belief that you're not enough, you have to get control of your mind. And I told my husband that. You have to get control of what you're thinking. So there is a belief, belief. There is a belief that no one can control their thoughts. No one can control what their mind produces. That is not true. You can absolutely control your mind and what it thinks and what it produces. You can control it. You just have to learn how. So when you start getting these thoughts of, I'm not even going to give examples of the thoughts, but when you start getting these negative thoughts that produces negative consequences or negative actions, you've got to turn a filter on in your mind to catch those negative thoughts and then erase them. Because the more you erase these negative thoughts in your mind, the less frequently they will come. And eventually they will go away. Isn't that powerful to know that? That eventually that negative thought will vanish. And then eventually, not overnight, not in a week, not in a day, maybe a couple of months, eventually those negative thoughts disappear. Remember, I told you that your belief and your actions are like this hungry vampire, this hungry monster that just starts eating and feeding. So the more you think these negative things, the bigger the insecurity grows. But guess what? The less you allow yourself to think these negative things, eventually that negative thought, negative feeling, negative emotion, negative belief will go away. So you gotta become aware. You gotta become conscious of what you're thinking. Because your thinking is affecting everything around you. And that's dangerous, isn't it? You know, that's how mass murders and mass shootings happen. All because of a thought. And that thought from here turned into a mass shooting or whatever. Or a knockdown drag out fight between you and your husband. Because you're fighting about this belief that he or she may not even be aware of. That you believe. You may not even be aware of it. So this process takes a lot of soul searching and a lot of deep thought and deep digging to get to the core of why you feel the way you feel. And it's a lot of things over time that have contributed to this belief and this emotion. You know, your environment, your neighborhood, the way you grew up, the people you grew up around, the things that you listen to, the type of music that you listen to, the type of television shows that you watch. All of these things have shaped your belief. And you feed these things. You feed these things with the music you listen to. You feed it with the people that you hang around. You feed these things and it becomes woven into the fabric of who you are. And you believe it. But there is nothing wrong with detoxing the person you are to become better, to become happier, to become healthier. I mean, let's be for real. Who want to walk around mad all the time? With an attitude. You just mad at everybody. Who want to walk around like that? That has to be so heavy. That has to be a heavy feeling. I'm in the store, I'm mad. I'm in the mall, I'm mad. I'm at work, I'm mad. Like, you're just mad all the time. Nobody knows what's wrong with you. Stop. Stop doing that. Get down to the core of, why are you mad? Why are you lashing out at people? Why are you angry? What is it? What belief are you holding on to that's causing you to be so insecure and so upset that you are mistreating people for no reason, including your marriage? Get to the core of that feeling. So make you a list. Make you a list of things that you believe that may be negative. Some negative things that you believe that you don't want to believe anymore. You now realizing this is causing me more harm than good. I'm tired of feeling this way. I'm tired of believing and holding on to this belief. There's no reason for me to keep holding on to it. It's time for me to let it go. So you're going to have to write it down, which is your acknowledgement. You're acknowledging now that it's there. That's huge. I mean, that is huge. You're acknowledging that it's there. Now, every time that negative cycle comes into your mind, now you can tell it to go away. And it's going to take time. It's really going to take time. It's going to take a lot of effort. It's going to take a lot of self-control to really get this thing. But you can get it. Because remember, the goal is to be happy. The goal is to have the best life. Hint, hint, the channel is called Best Life. So that's the goal, right? So we're trying to erase these things that are causing you a lot of discomfort and a lot of unhappiness. And the first thing we got to do is get rid of those insecurities so you can be and function at the level that the Creator created you to function at. And right now, if you're holding on to anger and aggression and all of that, you're not functioning at that full level that you really can. So let's maximize this thing. Let's maximize this life and let's do it. Let's get rid of our insecurities. Let's start consciously thinking about what we're thinking. Let's consciously start thinking about what we're thinking and detoxing and getting rid of those things that do not make us better. So you know what? You don't have to be afraid that somebody's going to cheat, because guess what? Your fear won't control that anyway. If somebody's going to cheat on you, they're just going to cheat on you. It's nothing wrong with you. It's nothing you can do to control that. That is an issue that they have. You can't control that. You can't, no matter what you do, you can't control that. You can't control what people will do, but you can control how you react, and you can control your happiness, your destiny. You can control those things. So let that fear go. Don't be afraid anymore. You can be happy regardless of all the things going on around. You can be happy. So it's going to start with, let's get rid of this insecurity demon. Let's shake her off and get rid of her. And we're going to start being happy. We're going to start being more vibrant than ever. All right, I hope you guys really enjoyed this video on breaking the chains in your relationship and getting rid of the insecurity. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you shared this video. I hope you hit the thumbs up and hit the like button and like it. And I hope you have a great night. I am Donna E. Knight, and I am out of here. Good night.